Hey there. This is 33, huh?
Yes, sir.
And we got a special guest.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's a momentous
33.
milestone.
Yeah, it is a milestone. And this is our first podcast to have a guest on. He's a friend of mine, been a friend of mine for, what, about 10 years, I guess?
Oh no, longer.
Longer than that?
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
second
Longer than
grade,
that. When you were coaching the girls in
Yeah,
soccer,
yeah.
right, that was way back in
Yeah.
2010.
10. Yeah.
9. Yeah, that's right.
And then before that,
Yeah.
we had all those parties.
That's right. We had all the parties
All
and
the parties,
everything.
remember the dancing?
Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah.
The kids dancing in front of us. Yeah, we got.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since Skylar and Casey met in second grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's a long
Yeah.
time.
So,
Yep. Well, again, like I said, this is 33, and today is
So you want to introduce John?
today's August 5th,
Yep.
and my friend here is John, and he's going to introduce himself, kind of. He's going to tell you what he's been all about in his lifetime and all that. Go ahead, John.
Bill and Joe invited me here to somewhat define or give a definition to the green industry.
Yeah.
Something I worked in all my life except for about 5 years. And
Cool.
so I went out and did a little research as far as trying to find a nice, concise, succinct definition for green industry.
Right.
And while doing so, I had to correct the AI I was using. It actually came out with the wrong definition. The,
Oh.
the,
Well,
the
as long as we
definition that
understand
it
it.
has evolved to today is emissions control, carbon capture, efficiencies, sustainabilities.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual term for green industry comes from agriculture, nurseries and greenhouses,
Right.
landscape services, floriculture, arboriculture, and plant conservation. So that is in its entirety is what encompasses the green industry that I worked in. So throughout my career, I was a athletic turf manager.
Oh.
So I took care of all the turf fields that the teams played on.
Well, you retired and you were working at Moravian College, right?
I had worked at Moravian College for many years. Yes. What I retired from was a commercial landscape company down of Langhorne. And they're the ones that take care of all your complexes, your strip malls, places like that. And if you go out, like remember the other day when we went to St. Luke's to do the walk,
Right.
and I told you about across the street that company.
That
was
company,
one of our
right.
major competitors.
Right.
It came from.
Yeah.
So. Very lucrative. This industry provides billions of dollars
Oh.
to their ownerships of the companies that do these types of work,
Right.
and they employ millions.
Hmm.
Wow. And I've been in it since I started back when I was 15 years old. Started
Wow.
in a nursery.
Wow.
So I learned from all the old hands at it, and it was a great education.
Right.
And the one thing about this industry that's so wonderful is that you can transition from one aspect to another, and it's not a technical leap that you have to take. You have to get some education of it, but you don't have to take a technical leap to get into another field within the same industry.
Oh.
So throughout my career, whenever there was a downturn in the economy, I was never for loss of work.
Yeah.
I was always working.
Oh, yeah, you're always working.
I was always working. I never had a problem.
Well, you did some stuff in our yard way back. You took down that tree in the front of the house,
took down
which
the
was
tree.
great.
Yep.
But you also did a lot of planting and things
Yeah,
like
I did
that.
some
in
little
the house.
plantings for
Yeah.
you right in the front,
Yep.
underneath the window there.
Yep.
And, I transitioned. I'm a certified horticulturalist.
Right.
Unfortunately, I probably have a repertoire of about maybe 15 or 20 Latin names of plants because I've never used them because I'm constantly trying, nobody understands what I'm talking about when I say japonica or, ilex,
You got to keep it in layman's terms.
Right.
This yellow
all
flower.
layman's. I even got yelled at by several bosses in front of clients. Okay, keep it simple, John. Come on, But I always, it's a system, the Linnaeus system, in which you can go to Russia or gone down to Brazil and you give the Latin name of the plant, they'll know exactly what you're talking about. So
What
Oh,
is
so it's
this?
like a
and you
universal
should-
name.
it's universal.
for-
Mhm.
yeah.
You probably know this. What is this when they say the zone system? Like my sister lives in Florida, and she'll tell me, "Well, you're in zone 3,
Yeah,
being up in
that's
Pennsylvania."
it's a USDA climatic zone that gives you an impression of what the weather could be like in your area,
Oh,
Huh.
and it has some considerations of
right.
a microclimate, which would be in a valley. So, like in the winter, you might be warm up on the middle part of a mountain, but you go down that valley, you've gone 10 degrees colder.
Oh,
But it's for planting because certain plants are very sensitive to temperatures.
right.
So we are here, we are zone, I believe it's 7B, 7A.
Oh,
They actually bumped them all up one notch because of climatic changes, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I see it all the time. There are certain plants I never will plant anymore here.
right. Right.
Spruce trees,
Right.
certain pines,
Yeah.
fir trees,
Mm.
because they like it cold.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stay cold here. So
Well,
they won't
Joe's
suffer.
wife, I mean, she plants out here. They're really nice.
Mhm.
And I guess she knows. She seems like she's really into it. You got to
Yeah.
be, yeah.
She won't know the Latin names, but she'll.
Well, Good Housekeeping. We always had great articles for taking care. And all the magazines all have good ways of teaching people how to take care of them. Mine was more, I was doing very specific landscape designs, and then for commercial, it was the kind of plants that you want that look beautiful but are sustainable,
Right.
easy to care for,
Yeah.
don't need a lot of water.
Right. Right.
For instance, I did one place where we did the entrances for them. I did the design for the entrances, and talking to the property manager, he told me that one summer alone for this one community was $15,000 a month for watering.
Wow.
So,
Oh,
so you
wow.
have
Yeah.
to consider that type
Right.
of
Sure.
situation.
Right.
So there is a thing called xeriscaping. It's XIS. It's pronounced xeriscaping, and it's a type of landscape where you use mainly natives, and you don't need to use irrigation, and they are self-sustainable. You don't have to do a lot of pruning, you don't have to do a lot of care, but they don't look great. It can look good. I mean, where you see it mainly is like in Arizona.
Right.
They use a lot of cacti, a lot of succulent
Sure.
type of plants.
Yeah.
That's you don't really do anything with,
Yeah.
and that's xeriscaping, and
Yeah.
using stone as a medium,
Right.
using other textured materials, mulch,
Right.
even astroturf.
Oh.
I mean, especially out in like Arizona where it gets to 100 and
Right. There's
400 degrees.
a lot of stone out there, right?
Yeah, and
Stone and sand.
yeah, and so people will do a
Yeah.
patio and bag instead of walking on a hot concrete, you astroturf it, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then it's cooler.
Yeah.
So when you did something, it was almost like you designed scenery, right?
Yes,
You have some pictures?
I do have some on here. I can give
If you
later.
got some,
Yeah.
get them to me. I can throw
Yeah,
them.
and
in.
I could throw them
Yeah.
up there. But I use like mainly in the commercial landscaping, you're using things that are easy to care for. So a lot of ornamental grasses.
Right.
I use a lot of ornamental grasses, a lot of perennials that bloom at specific times of the year.
Right.
Like salvia will bloom at a certain time of year as opposed to monarda,
Yeah.
which is bee balm.
Yeah.
That blooms at an earlier time of year. Then daffodils, they bloom throughout the spring. You can
Right.
start them in early April all the way up
Oh,
through
yeah.
June.
Wow.
And just as long as you have the right variety for them, you can put them out there. And once one expires, the other one's popping up.
Yeah.
So you got this continuous flow of
flowers.
form and
Yeah.
beauty and
Yeah.
and aesthetics. And it's fun. It's
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
The difficult thing that most people have with landscaping is that they see a plant in a nursery or a store at Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever, and they buy it not realizing that particular plant may grow really big. So they plant it in the ground like 2 feet from the foundation of their house.
And
Mm.
before they
And in
know.
10 years, that plant is growing through the windows and it's cracking the foundation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Well, that's what happened in my backyard. I
Yeah.
put 2 trees. My wife was trying to be nice
Yep.
because I like to photograph backyard birds.
Yep.
And she
You
thought
had a nice
I always,
setup.
and I said it'd be nice to have trees back here so they can land and I can photograph them on branches.
Yeah.
And,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But we didn't know. We went out and we bought these Austria pines or
Austrian pines,
something.
yeah.
They got huge.
Huge.
And they were
Huge.
starting to lean, and I was scared that they
Yep.
were going to fall,
Yep.
and especially somebody else's house or
Yep.
something like that. So I made the order. I said, we got to chop them down.
Yep.
They're just too big.
Yep.
And I remember my friend Smokey told me, he
Mhm.
said, what did you get those for? Those things are going to be gigantic.
And that's what people don't realize is that.
Yeah, I didn't. We got them because they look pretty, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
and-
Well, that's what
You know,
most people do,
but
right?
your mindset is like, I'm designing my den or my living room,
Right.
and I'm going to buy this couch, and it's going to stay right there, and it's going to look beautiful. But you're not. You're buying a plant that's going to undulate, grow, form out, and
Right.
they all have very specific characteristics,
Right,
and they will form in a very predictable way.
right.
And there are certain things you may have to do during that growing part where
Yeah.
you're containing or
Sure.
topiary, which is a whole
Right.
style, artistic style of growing plants,
Yeah.
which I did quite a bit
That
of.
was happening at my old place.
Mhm.
You know, some of the stuff that we planted 15 years later, it's like this
Yeah.
monster
Yeah.
thing. We had to take it out.
Oh, they were beautiful. Some of the
Yeah.
plants you had at the old place.
Yeah.
Well, out here is beautiful.
Mhm.
It really is. Your wife
Yeah.
did a good job out here in the
Yeah.
back.
Oh, even I bought a butterfly maple, which is a beautiful Japanese maple that's upright. It's not a broad plant; it grows upright. And I planted it thinking it was only going to get about 15 feet. Well, the damn thing grew up to about 20 feet.
Oh, gee. Yeah.
and that can happen.
Right.
That can happen. And but I pruned it and I trained it, and now it's right in front of our front bow window,
Mm.
and we face the south.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it screens us beautifully, and it keeps the house cool.
You know, getting to the scientific names, it seems like you know some of the plants, you know the scientific
Yes.
names. You know, I study a lot of birds because I like to photograph them, but
Yeah.
there's scientific names for
Same
birds. I
thing.
don't know
They
anything
use the same
about.
system.
Yeah, I don't know anything in a
It's-
scientific name. I just know, oh, that's a wren, or
Right.
that's a sparrow, or that's an eagle, or
Right,
that's
right,
an
right.
owl, you know, a raptor.
Well,
and,
get the Audubons and you'll see.
well, I
that.
do. I have it on my phone. I have Audubon and eBird,
Yep.
but it's still, as far as the scientific name, I just.
It's the same with healthcare. Everything named in our
Well, yeah.
anatomy is all
Right.
Latin.
Yeah. When I get a test, and Joe, you know this, when it goes on your My Chart
Yeah.
and they give you the results,
Yeah.
you don't understand
Yeah, I'm
that.
like, what's
I
this?
wind up
Yeah.
emailing the doctor and say, "Can you explain this in layman's terms?
Right,
Am I
right.
sick? Am I going to die tomorrow or
Right,
not?"
right,
You know?
right.
I called my doctor because mine said negative. I went, negative? Oh my God. No, that's good. Oh, yeah.
I was watching Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh.
Have you guys
No,
seen
I
Happy
never saw
Gilmore 2?
Gilmore. No.
Okay, it's actually, it was very good. He has all the golfers. He has Scheffler,
Oh,
Rory
yeah.
McIlroy's on it.
Oh,
So it's a really great show. But the premise of the show is that this other league is coming. It's kind of a spoof on the LVI
Oh,
league against
yeah.
the PGA
Yeah.
thing. So it's a spoof on that.
Yeah.
And this other league has just normal characters, but they have this one little tendon down here in the back that if you snip it, your body will rotate like a spinning clock.
Oh,
It
geez.
just so when they turn to swing for their drive, they have such torque coming back around
Right.
that they send the ball
Utilize the
1,000
tendons,
yards.
yeah.
So that's the premise of the movie, and I think I just gave it away, but and I apologize.
Well, that's
but
interesting.
It was
That's-
very funny.
yeah,
and it was a
that's
very
interesting.
and it was a good movie. It
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
one of those quick ones. I'm sure it only took them about a week to make.
Yeah.
yeah.
With a low
But it was
budget.
good. It was good. It was low budget for sure.
Those
Well,
are
another thing that I know I always start the podcast for something that I did.
yeah. Here we go again.
But we did last week,
Yeah.
and John and I were there with our families, our wives, and that's about it. We did trivia night over at Steel Stack or Steel City or whatever it is, the golf course, Silver Creek,
Silver Creek, yep,
the
Silver
barn,
Creek, yep.
the yard, the beam yard.
Yep, up in Hellertown.
Yeah, up in Hellertown. That was a lot of fun.
That was a
The food
blast.
was great.
The food's always good.
And
there,
there's
yep.
4 or 5 different categories of trivia, and you just gotta, write it down when they ask you a question or something like that. Write it down. Like one category could be music, another category could be presidents, another category, anything.
Lifestyle,
Yeah,
something,
lifestyle or
yep,
anything like
anything,
that.
yep.
But if you ever get a chance to do it, it's every Thursday night. You can go in there and you can do
Yeah,
trivia.
it's a lot of fun. We
Yeah.
won last week.
Yeah, we did win.
Yeah, we
After
won-
I've
we
been
won the
there,
grand prize.
I've been there now for like 4 times or 5 times, and we won last week.
Notice
and
it's
it was
John
cool.
and I have been trying to get in with them, but there are too many people on the team, so I'm just sitting here. I'm not part
so
of
you'll
the,
be-
I'm
you'll
not
be
part
part
of
of it.
You'll be
their
part of the
their
gang, don't
get
worry.
You'll
together.
be the regular.
So I just have to kill one of them so I can get in.
Yeah.
But that's good. No, I did trivia night a few times. It is fun. It's a lot
Yeah,
of
it
fun.
is fun. This is hard though. This is not
Yeah,
easy.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
they ask questions.
Yeah, it's the ones that are not categorized specifically for one thing is really tough.
Oh, it is. I mean,
But the
it's
nice thing about it is that you have 5 or 6 or 7 other people with you, and so there are times where
Everybody's
you can
brain.
shut up and
Yeah.
not be
Right.
part of it. And
Yeah.
I look at Bill with a blank look, like I have no clue.
But then Bob knew
and
it.
he's looking at me
And
like
he's
I feel your pain because I'm the same way.
But my wife got a couple.
Yeah.
And you got
I got a couple.
Yeah, got a
And
couple.
Bob- I know what I'm
And
gonna
then
do
Dawn
next
really
time.
got a couple.
Yeah, Dawn
Dawn
got a
was
couple, yeah.
really.
And Bob got
Next time
one,
you go,
too.
you're gonna hide a mini dictaphone in your ear, and I'll be in the parking lot.
Yeah, that's right.
On your,
You're gonna win
Well,
every
it's
week.
funny, Joe. It's funny because you haven't been there, and you will. When you sit down, they want you to hide your phones. You
Yeah,
can't have your
hide them.
phones out.
Yeah, you can't have them.
You know,
That
you got to
makes
put them.
sense.
And
Everybody
if you go, they want you to go to the bathroom. If you have to get up to go to the bathroom, you
Yeah.
got to do it in between the categories.
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so
All right. That's cool.
what else is going on?
Cheat, huh?
You have a little update on the dog story?
Yeah, last week we talked about this guy in Queens who dragged a half-dead dog and then lit him on fire.
Horrible.
God.
That's like
It was
so rude.
ridiculous.
Give
Yes,
him the same
I mean,
punishment.
I hope I had something to do with that because I put it out to everybody out
You
there on
did.
our
I
TikTok,
saw that. Yeah, he sent pictures of the guy and everything.
and they caught him.
Oh,
So
good.
he was charged with, of course, cruelty to animals,
animal cruelty.
arson, with the intent of damaging property. They're trying to find everything they can possibly charge him with. So
Yep.
they
Can you imagine
finally,
that?
they
I can't
finally got
imagine
him.
that.
Oh, we'll be watching a movie, and my wife will get up and they're gonna kill an animal. Oh, I can't stand it. And she walks
Well,
up.
you remember you were at the house. We were watching some National Geographic thing, and a wolf got some
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lamb or
It was the
something.
same way.
Turn it off! Turn it off! I said,
Turn it off. They were
and I'm
like-
looking at her. I go, Mary Beth, born free, free. I said, it's
Yeah, I know.
natural. I mean,
It
first,
is.
when you're out there in the wild.
I have to constantly tell her, hon, that all these animals are unharmed.
Yeah.
They are totally unharmed. They're well trained and beautifully taken care of.
Right.
They may not look like it on the screen for that particular scene, but
That's why John.
Oh, I remember that day that she got so upset because we
Oh,
were
yeah.
watching something on
Yeah.
National Geographic and a wolf ate, I don't know what he ate, a rabbit or something like that. And she actually started flipping out. She was getting all upset.
We'll be watching it. She goes, oh, here it goes again. They got the dog in there.
That's why John Wick's first movie was so popular because they killed his dog and then the whole movie
Oh,
was just
right.
killing everybody. So
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it was
yeah.
very satisfactory.
So what else on the update? Anything else on it?
Yeah, I want to update this Sydney Sweeny with
Oh.
American Eagle.
Okay.
This girl's doing a fantastic job for them. Stock is up 25%. Blue eyes, blonde hair, and guess what? She's selling jeans.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. She's
Well,
selling
everybody's going
jeans.
through the freaking roof. Their heads are blowing up like
Oh,
scanners.
but what did you say? You said something about she's crying or she's upset
Yeah,
because
I've
of
got.
all the
Well, let me show you.
publicity,
I'm going
or-
to show you the clip of one of the new commercials, and then we're going to go into a different woke clip
Okay.
from Jaguar.
Okay.
Jaguar.
Okay.
And then there's a little clip at the end of her. She's crying on TikTok because of rotten meat. You know.
yeah.
So
So
hold
this
on.
is the clip here.
I'm just going to run this real quick.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeny has very keen.
I would never actually do this, like ever. But I think it's really important for people to see how words actually affect people. And I know everyone says like you can't read things and you shouldn't read things, but like I'm a fucking person. I'm just sitting here with my dog Tank watching HGTV, wearing my Stuggy, like I don't know. People need to be nicer on social media because it's really fucked up.
So guess what, guys? Pretty girls in jeans sell jeans.
Oh yeah, they do,
right?
no
I
doubt
mean-
about it. And she is a very pretty girl. She was on White Lotus. I think I mentioned that
Yeah, you
before.
mentioned it last
on
time.
I think that was HBO Max
Yeah.
or something or somewhere, but it was
The Jaguar ad I ran, which there's no car in it,
No car in it. No.
just colorful guys dressed up with bats and straw
women.
hats and
And yeah,
whatever. Anyway,
Right.
I guess the CEO eventually stepped down anyway because he was quitting. So, but they lost money. Jaguar lost, and they didn't learn from the Bud Light guy, girl.
right.
yeah.
They had to do that, and another woke commercial didn't work. Go
Yeah.
woke or broke.
Joni Mitchell, that song, "Sex Sells."
Yeah, sex.
Remember?
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
That's right. That song.
That's a song that it's a beautiful song. It really
Oh,
is.
it is.
Well written.
Yep. Oh, it is a great song.
But
But she's right. Sex
she's
sells.
right.
It
Sex
does.
sells.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. And so she's doing a great job. She's just a model, guys, so don't pick on her. You know, I felt bad looking at her crying and all because people can really just be rotten and mean. And, you know, the people that are rotten and mean don't look like her.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
No, they don't.
You know, and, you know, and it's
they're just
not
naysayers.
racist. They call it Nazi propaganda. It really it's getting out of hand. So,
Yeah,
anyway,
wouldn't that
good
be
luck
a
to you.
Nazi propaganda.
Yeah, no,
How
yeah.
could they say that?
Miss Sweeny,
I
you're
mean-
doing a great job for American Eagle. Keep it up.
Yep.
You know, and don't back down. American Eagle has not backed down to making more commercials.
Now, I don't know if any of you guys know this, but American Eagle, who are they owned by? They owned by Levi or anything like that? It's just a
No,
or
I think they're their own brand.
just
Yeah,
own
and
brand.
they're owned by a Jewish guy too.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, so it's not like she's doing Nazi propaganda. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, American Eagles have their own store out.
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if it was like from Levi Jeans. It was a store that branch of their company or something.
Levi's still around, you know.
Oh, I know they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
But they sold.
yeah.
They
You
got
can go to
rid of that.
Walmart or
Yeah,
Target and buy
yeah,
Levi's.
Levi's.
Like crazy.
Mhm.
Probably the best jeans
But
around.
didn't they sell something of theirs back when they were in their demise? Remember the 401s or 501s?
Oh, yeah, 501
Button
jeans.
flies,
Yep.
and I love those
Yep.
jeans. They were so comfortable.
Yeah.
They were so comfortable, and they made
Yep.
you look good too.
Yeah.
You know? They did.
Well, button flies, they were a lot safer than zippers.
Yeah, they were too. Yeah. Exactly.
So anyway,
So
Okay, so
we got quite a few topics here, so I'm going to go to the
Yep.
next one.
alien probe.
Yeah, I wanted to
Alien
talk a
probe,
little
yep.
bit about this new comet that was discovered out there and circulating in space here. And the interesting part about this particular one is most of the time NASA can almost track back where this comet comes from and can track the orbit and things like that. Well, there are some guys in a university here that are saying it could be an alien probe heading towards our solar system. Now, how true that is, I don't know. But if it's an alien probe, it still has a white tail. So, I'm guessing it is a comet. But, they were making some observations that, they were saying it could be an alien craft because it was directional almost, is what they were saying. That it was changing direction and, and the only thing that could do that is something that was controlled. Some short guy with a toggle.
Yeah, right.
Doing something. So it was a little puzzling, pretty interesting. I mean, Bill and I talk about this all the time, but for me, I can't wait till we make contact.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm
Before I
counting.
die.
I can't.
Let's
when I
get to
was-
Mars.
What's amazing about this is that back in the day when all the telescopes were on Earth,
Yeah.
we didn't see these things
Yeah, right.
because we couldn't see them.
Right.
And now, because we have those telescopes out in space, they're picking these things up. And anything that comes out of the Oort cloud, they call it,
Mhm.
which is way out on the edge of our universe, and it comes in through the Oort cloud, it could be an alien probe.
Yeah. You never
It
know.
could be also just a meteor coming out of
Yeah.
nowhere and
Yeah.
pass through our galaxy and
Right.
go to the next
Next
galaxy.
one.
you know?
Yeah.
But what's so cool about it, I don't know if you've seen some of those pictures that come off those telescopes.
Oh,
my
God.
Yeah,
they
it's
are,
incredible.
Oh, yeah.
they are
And
spectacular.
what blows my mind is how they describe they're looking back in time
Hmm.
because they're seeing. So, and a quick science lesson, right? You're looking at a star in space. It could have burned out 1,000,000 years ago, and light is still traveling to Earth.
I know, that's
But when you
wild.
look at it with a telescope, you're looking beyond that
Yes.
burnout, and you're not seeing it anymore.
Right.
Yep.
So it's looking back in history, which is just.
And my wife
mind-boggling.
keeps saying, "How do they know
How
that?
do they know
They
that?"
don't know that." My wife says it all. I don't get it.
Yeah.
How do they know all
Well,
that?
they can mathematically.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
how
Yeah.
they know. It's all mathematics. It's all
Well, what was
physics.
that? Voyager 2? that kind of left Pluto. That was reported
Yeah,
last
that's
year.
actually, it's right on the edge. Actually,
Yeah, it's right on the edge.
yeah, it turned.
Yeah.
It got to the edge of our galaxy, and it bent
Oh.
because there is a wall there. I
Oh.
think they don't know what kind of wall it is, but it's some sort of physical, a physics wall that causes an object coming in from the galaxy to go out. It bends it.
Oh.
So
It could be, you know,
so
they
the
talk
Voyager's
about
bending
space
away.
warp, you know, that space can warp, and
Yeah.
warp drive on Star Trek was they
Fold.
actually would fold, yeah, so the
Fold.
distance that they were traveling was here to here instead of here to here. So
Right. Right.
it's
Well,
that's pretty
I
interesting.
thought
But
they
Voyager-
said that
I'm
Voyager.
sorry, Voyager 1 is out past their solar system into black nothing
Yeah.
space.
Well, they said the next time it reaches a solar system, Voyager 1, I guess it was,
Yeah.
it will be year 40, like
Yeah,
4012.
4,000. Yeah.
40, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Which is like-
2,000 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well, you
hoping
know-
we see that.
You know, when you go to when
Yeah.
you travel at the light speed, you'll go out to a planet or out to an object far, far away, and when you turn around and come back, you've aged maybe a year or two with the time you traveled. When you get back,
Mhm.
you'll be seeing your fifth generation
Yeah.
ancestors.
Yeah,
All the
ancestors,
people you knew
yeah.
are dead.
Yeah, they're all
gone.
dead.
And
That's
all-
like, remember the first Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
When they were in this.
Yeah.
And they saw
Cool.
when they landed in what turned to be Earth. We didn't know that, but
Oh,
when they landed, he looked before they jumped out of the spaceship. They looked at the time, and it was like
yeah.
2025, 25.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
No, that's it. That's it. And it's,
Yeah,
it's,
no, John's right. You know, the faster you go towards the speed of light, the time the guy in the spaceship doesn't age.
doesn't age.
Right.
And then you don't realize it, and you come back, and like you said, you know, 2,000 years later,
Mhm.
you know, and you're looking at
Can you imagine
it. Just
that?
it just
Yeah.
What's it going to be in
they
2,000
even
years?
said during the moon landings that those guys lost fractions of seconds
Seconds, yeah.
when they went out to the moon and came back. They were fractions of seconds younger
Younger.
than the Earth was. You know.
Well, you want to hear something about the
So-
moon landing? I told this to Joe. Did I tell you this at breakfast the other day about Buzz Aldrin?
Yes, you
Would
did.
you believe
Yeah.
this, Joe? Buzz Aldrin. Nobody knows this. I mean, I guess some people do. It's a known fact that he received First Holy Communion when he stepped on the moon.
From
NASA kept it quiet because they got sued so far because there was some things with religious things and
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and they decided to take it out. But he was allowed to bring bread and something else and wine,
Wine.
and he was allowed to get
And
Holy
we
Communion.
received
And
the Eucharist.
he talked about how
I
he
hope
poured
did it
the
in
wine, and
ship,
the wine
because
just
if he
went.
lifted his helmet, he'd be dead.
Yeah.
The wine just
Yes,
went
he
all
did,
over the
so-
place because of the gravity.
Weightless.
Yeah, and it turns into little droplets.
Droplets.
And they float. And
Yeah.
you can go up and go and
Yeah.
suck them right in.
Yeah,
So this was on the way because moon has gravity, but
yeah,
not much.
not much.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Yeah, and I was telling
So what
Bill,
else
we
about
can get
this?
into all kinds of stuff. So.
Anything else about it? About the
No,
alien?
so they're watching it closely, and you know, sometime I think they said it's going to pass our sun around October 29th, the closest pass
This year.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. It's coming that
Wow.
fast.
yeah. So
Are we
it will
gonna be
come
able to
closest
see
to our
it?
sun on the
Oh,
29th.
yeah.
Yeah, possibly maybe with binoculars and all.
Yeah. Mhm.
But with comets out in space, when they're not near a sun, they're just a rock. When they get near the sun is when they start burning off water and
Water
ice.
and ice.
Oh,
and
I
then
didn't
the
know
tail.
that.
And that's
Oh.
when
And the tail. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know, sometimes the tail is in front of it.
Yeah, depending on where the sun is.
Yeah.
The tail is always opposite of the
Wow.
sun
Mhm.
as they go around. So
Yep.
pretty neat.
Holy cow!
It's really cool.
So we'll see what happens, and if it's an alien probe, they'll start dropping stuff on us, and who knows? Next thing you know,
We're here.
we're here. Bill and I saw Close Encounters in 1977.
Oh,
Bill and
yeah.
I and Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
We walked out of that movie looking in the sky the whole time we're driving.
The whole time.
Right.
We're still looking.
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
Especially
go
when,
back and
when,
look.
when he's at the stop sign, he's doing this.
Yeah, he's doing
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Go by me. Go
Go
by
by
me.
me. Yeah.
The thing
The thing goes up. He goes over him, and he's looking out.
Then he looks out and he's all sunburned on one
He's
side
all-
of his face.
Everything's
Oh,
going
goodness.
crazy in the car.
And the guy in the desert, they landed in the desert, and he turned his head. Sunburn?
Sunburn.
Sunburn.
Yeah.
Great
He said
movie.
the sun came out and talked to him.
Yeah, he said the sun came out.
I think one of the
yesterday.
best movies though was That was one, right? That's up in the top 5 as far as Contact type thing.
Yeah.
But Contact with
Contact was
yeah.
great.
oh, that was great.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
That was really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, just even not just the space thing, just little things that
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey would say. He says, "Well, you could say that I'm the man of the cloth without the cloth."
Yeah.
Because she asked him, because she liked him. Are you a real priest? Well, you could just say I'm a man of the cloth
Without the cloth.
without the cloth.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well,
They don't make good sci-fi movies like they used to.
no.
Interstellar was pretty good, but it was
Yeah.
confusing.
Oh, I thought it was very
confusing.
confusing.
Ad Astra was also
he,
good if you
he
haven't
thought
seen
it was. You thought it was good though. When
Yeah, well, I had to watch it 8 times.
Yeah, exactly. I watched it 3 times.
Oh, 3 times.
I
Still,
still
I watched it
didn't
once.
quite get the science.
I watched
you
it
know?
once with my son-in-law, and I looked at Brad and I said, "What the heck is going on in this thing?" And he knew right away. I mean, they're all young,
Yeah,
they know
they're-
everything.
they're-
But I said, "I'm
For every
sorry.
hour- for
I've
every
seen
minute they were on the
sci-fi
planet."
movies
Yeah.
before. This thing totally just blew my. Well, I thought Arrival.
That was
When
cool.
Arrival came, I when I watched that, I was kind of like
Mhm.
a little confused about that.
I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, that was
immensely.
it
I
was
thought that
done
was
very
really
good. I loved
Yeah.
the whole premise
Yeah.
of it, but I just didn't understand. And Casey kind of told me about it a little bit. She says that I could explain it to you, but I thought that was done very good. But to me, now it's a sci-fi film, but I think it's a horror film also.
It is.
Which one of the
Yeah.
best? No, one of the
Oh.
best horror films around,
Yeah.
and sci-fi is Alien.
Alien.
The first
First
Alien.
one. Yeah. First
Remember
one.
you, I, and Mike
Yeah.
went to go see it.
Yep.
Scared the crap out of me.
Oh, it
that
scared the
one
crap
scene
out of
where
me.
he's in the tube and they're up in the control room
Yeah.
and they're saying, he's coming on you.
Yeah.
Don't turn around.
Don't turn
And
around,
he
Dallas.
turns around.
Dallas, don't turn around, Dallas. And he turned around,
Yeah.
and there it was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that scared the living daylights out of me.
Yeah,
That
I
really
thought
did.
that was one of the best horror
It
films
was, it
around,
was.
other
That-
than The Exorcist.
The
but,
Exorcist.
yeah.
No, Exorcist didn't scare me as much, but that
Oh,
Alien
Exorcist scared me. I went to Boonton to go see it in Boonton, New Jersey, and when the priest jumped out the window in Exorcist,
Oh,
yeah.
I got in my car. And I drove like 100 miles an hour back to Parsippany. I couldn't. I was so scared.
I gotta admit.
I mean,
that
and
scared
at
me
the
too. I
Boonton
won't
Theater,
watch
they
it.
gave you 2 movies for the price of one, and the
Yeah.
other one was The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds.
Reynolds.
So that one,
Yeah,
that was the
yeah.
first movie. The second one was The Exorcist.
The Exorcist. Oh my God.
Yeah.
My favorite was The Omen.
Oh, The Omen.
Oh,
yeah,
that was
yeah,
really
The
good.
Omen.
That scared me.
Yeah.
And
That was scary.
what's his name?
That was
No.
Beck. Yeah. It was,
Who?
The Omen was he played his dad. Oh, was it the original Omen, or am I thinking of the other one?
the original
With the
Omen
kid?
was
Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck.
Oh, Gregory
Yeah,
Peck.
that was
Gregory
yeah,
Peck. That's
with
what I'm thinking.
Damien.
Yeah, with Damien.
Damien.
Yep.
Yeah.
When he makes his maid jump out the.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
No.
Yeah.
That was scary.
Yeah. But I loved Alien. I thought Alien was so good, and
Yeah,
even
I did
Aliens
too.
too.
And all those
I thought
movies
it
came
was-
out like that. With the
And nowadays,
devil
like
stuff.
I showed my daughter those movies. I showed her Psycho,
Oh.
and she's like yawning and
Yeah. Yeah.
bored.
That's what they
I'm
do.
like, this doesn't scare you? No, Dad. It's like, and I thought my
Well-
sister didn't take a shower for 2
Right.
weeks after seeing Psycho back in the '60s.
Yeah.
She wouldn't take a shower.
Yeah.
Scared her to death.
That's
And I
yeah.
can see. I can imagine when I first saw it. I was like, yeah, it scared me too.
Yeah.
I had to leave doors open, music on.
Yeah. That's pretty.
I think we got off track here, but
No,
sorry
no,
about
that's
that. Love talking about
So
it.
yeah, we're having a good time here, but now we got to get a little serious here. We got some, I hate to do that, but we are.
Yeah.
Well,
You
this
got
this
stay
this
on track.
Cincinnati brawl that they had.
Right.
I found out a little bit more about it, and I think you did too. It
Yeah.
turns out that supposedly the white guy
Yeah.
did slap or hit.
Did you see the video?
Well,
Yeah.
I saw the video.
He
Well,
goes-
hold
he
on.
goes-
I'll tell you what. Let me put the video up first, then we
Yeah,
can talk about it. It's
okay.
right here. I got it up here.
Okay.
So we just got disturbing new video with a different angle of this vicious attack that unfolded at 3 a.m. on Saturday in Cincinnati. It appears to show a verbal confrontation. Then you see a white man in a white shirt slap a black man in a red shirt. Punches are then thrown and the brawl ensues. The white man is punched and kicked repeatedly by black men and women. This new video also shows 2 other white men getting beat up. Horrifically, another video shows a woman being knocked unconscious, blood on her face after she was sucker punched by a man. Incredibly difficult to watch. Police have not said how or why this brawl started. Cincinnati's police chief says alcohol consumption played a significant role, characterizing it as a sudden dispute following a verbal altercation. Astoundingly, there were 100 people there, but only one person called 911.
So there's a video, and they showed it in slow motion. You can see the white guy just kind of slams it.
Well, I heard that there was supposed to be a fight between the white guy and a black guy.
Yeah.
And the black guy backed down, and the white guy went to hit somebody else. That's what I heard.
Okay.
And when they hit somebody else, that all hell broke loose.
Well, the video I saw was a big white guy
Yep, in a white
into
shirt.
the crowd,
Yep.
and then there was a smaller white guy. These are old guys. The guy had gray white hair, and he walks over, tries to get in there, and now he gets clocked.
Yeah, they don't. There were 3 separate brawls, by the way, and they don't know if they were
see,
all
now,
linked
see,
together.
you didn't see all this.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
3
I
separate
saw
There were
balls.
3 separate little ones, and then the big one, of
Well, it
course,
was
got
3
all.
o'clock in the morning too.
I know.
They were all
It was
drunk.
outside that-
They were all drunk.
Yeah.
Everybody was drunk.
Yeah, it was outside this nightclub or
The
something.
poor woman,
Yeah.
she really got beat.
Oh, she got
I
cold cocked.
Yeah,
She got boom, and she
You
went
see
down
the
like a
pictures
sack of
of her?
potatoes.
You got the picture? You have the picture?
yeah, I could put it up
She
here.
went
It's
down like
pretty
a
hard
sack
to
of
see.
potatoes, and she was bleeding out of her mouth.
Oh,
She got hit pretty good.
She was. I saw a video of
terrible,
her thanking
terrible.
everybody because they got a GoFundMe page, and she's thanking everybody for donating and helping her get better because she got a major brain injury too now.
Did
yeah,
she?
she does.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
So-
major brain
Wow.
injury.
So people are I guess the point of this whole thing is everybody's just. I mean, look at the road rage incidences. I
Oh
mean,
my
it's
God.
crazy.
Oh my
People are
God.
killing each other and
Yeah.
fights like this, and then everybody gets involved. And then what they said, there were a huge crowd there, and one person called 911.
Yeah, and that was the other thing is that half of them were all videotaping it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all
And
standing there with
nobody
their phones.
nobody does anything to do anything.
Yeah.
It's like they don't intervene. They don't try to break it up. They're just sitting there filming.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen Black Mirror?
Is that a movie?
It's on Netflix.
No.
It's
No.
a series on Netflix. It's vignettes that are tied into technology.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a scene where they have this one episode where the people are all filming. That's all they do. And they
Yeah.
have this whole horrible thing happen. And the people are all running after it with their phones like this. They're doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's bizarre. But
Well,
when you see
that's
something
what-
like that,
That's
you
what they do
go,
every day now.
yeah, you scratch your head. And then,
Well, this
sure
bar
enough-
this bar was called Love on 4th, where the brawl occurred, and apparently there's all kinds of instances over there. Police were called there frequently, liquor control violations, underage
Yeah.
drinking, all kinds of different
Yeah.
things. So
Yep.
these people got. But this girl that got beat up, Holly, I guess her name is. She
Yeah.
$300,000 so far from her GoFundMe page to help her out. So.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, again, we said the white guy slapped him, but couldn't they, if they want to film something, can't they just film a boxing match between the two of them? Everybody got involved. It was just
Right,
kicking them
everybody got
down and
involved.
hitting the
Well,
head.
because everybody was drunk.
Yeah, they
everybody
all
was,
just went
in
nuts.
the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So, this was Sunday. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But John, you said people weren't getting involved. People weren't trying to.
Just they were-
The problem
they were
is they
filming.
try to. Yeah, that's all they want to do.
That's all
The
they were
problem
doing.
is if they try to stop it, then you could get sued
Yep.
if you did
Yep.
something wrong,
Yeah.
or you could get beat up,
Yep.
or something. So it's like, oh, stay away. It's not my problem.
Yep.
Let them get beat up. Let them.
We're gonna see you.
yeah, like if a whale's, washed up on a beach, is there a marine biologist here?
Yeah, right. Remember that in Seinfeld?
Yeah.
George? Is there a marine biologist here?
He pulled
Is
out
that,
the-
is that a titleist?
that title is that was so funny. Oh
But
my God.
that whole show, even when Jerry told him, I told her that you were a marine biologist. A marine biologist? I didn't even know it was a job.
I want to be an architect.
Why should he be an architect?
Oh, that was such a funny show.
All right, not making light of this brawl situation, but
No,
we got to keep
no.
it light. So another bad story. Next one. An illegal drunk
Yeah, that's terrible.
kills a mother and daughter in a car head on. Everybody's fighting ICE and trying to slow this stuff down, but this guy, even if he wasn't an illegal immigrant, illegally here in the country. He was charged twice with DUI and domestic violence, and he's still on the street.
Right.
And he's driving his car, and he crosses. This was in Lakewood, New Jersey. Crosses the
Yeah.
double line, smashes into the mother, and kills 11-year-old girl and her
Now,
mom.
That's what's so surprising about that is that because it was in New Jersey. Now I came from New Jersey. You guys are from New Jersey.
I know exactly where
When
that
I
goes.
when I came back from the West to live in New Jersey, I would go out and party, and I got 2 DUIs. One was 1 point, I was 0.09,
Hmm.
so barely over the limit. And another one was I was 2/10 of a percentage over a limit. And I lost my license the first time for 6 months.
First offense.
First offense,
Wow.
6 months.
Yeah.
And the second one, I lost it for 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if he should have lost his
His
license
license.
for 2 years
Absolutely.
after the last DUI. Now, if you get a third DUI, you lose your license for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
For
right.
10 years. And that was strict New Jersey law.
Yeah.
But then, even if he did lose his license, what's the chance he would have been driving anyway?
Right. And many do. Many do. When they lose their license, they have to go to work, and they
just
just
do it
risk,
anyway.
they risk it. They risk it. They
Yeah.
do. Yep.
So this
And
is
an
a
alcoholic. He's obviously an alcoholic because kept going back to drinking.
yeah.
So
And here's the ironic part: the woman that was killed, Rayo Luna Perez, she was from Mexico, came into the United States legally.
Legally, and she got
Her family's been here for a long time. Had 2 kids, and she got taken out
so
by
sad.
yeah.
Well,
So yeah, it was a Dodge Durango.
no.
So that crossing the traffic head on into her niece, a little Nissan Sentra. Wow.
So let me ask you, John, because Joe and I, we're basically on the right, and I think that you're kind of in the middle or
I'm
to
in
the
the
left.
middle. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about this blue-red state and the things like this happen where these people they're not citizens and they keep breaking the law and then
They keep letting
they're
them out.
back on the streets and they break the law and I mean, do you think that what President Trump has done is as far as trying to get these people out of the country? What's your take on that?
Well, it's first of all, it's a very complicated and controversial endeavor to try to remove, because the way he's doing it is not, I don't think is appropriate.
Mhm.
I think he really should arrest and set up a court date and go through the courts and get these people out that way. But to deport them, just to pick them off the streets and throw them in a van and take them down to another state and then throw them on a plane and into another, no, that does not make us look great
Good.
again.
No, I
doesn't. It
I
does
agree
not
with
make
that.
us
It's not a good
It's
look.
cruel and
Right.
it's callous and it's cold.
But don't you
I
think
understand
won't
the
it take
sentiments.
won't it take a long time because
will,
if they
yeah.
go into courts, they could be
Well, that's the
we
problem.
need evidence, and we need this, and we need that. Before you
Well,
know it,
you know-
I mean, there was supposedly under Biden the 4 years, anywhere from 12 to 20 million people came over across the border.
Yeah, well, the figure of 25 million has been debunked because there's only 11 million from what the statistics I've read. There's only 11 million illegal aliens in the United States right now. And to say that there's 25 million pouring across the border was not correct. And so that has been debunked at least by neutral statisticians, that do
Well,
these
I
numbers.
heard anywhere from 11, 12 million to up to 20 million.
Right.
But see, then
but
again,
still-
I'm thinking, weren't some of these people vetted? That's even if they had a record and they were still released into the country.
Yeah.
So
Well,
if ICE is going after these people that they know already that there's like the guy from Maryland, the Maryland dad, we heard
A
of
Maryland man.
Maryland man, right? We heard about him over and over and over again, but it turned out
he kept coming back
he
in.
kept coming back in. You know? And then-
Being in the green industry and working in landscaping and landscape companies and large commercial enterprises doing big work, hard work, I have had nothing but illegal immigrants working with me.
Yeah.
Okay? And some were legal. but some were not. And the reason why they were not was because, one, it was astronomically expensive to get a lawyer to help them. They made it too expensive, too complicated I had one crew guy that he was a crew chief for one of my crews that did a specific thing on properties. They had their work to do on these properties, and that's all they did. They didn't do other things. So he was such a nice guy, wonderful man. Had a wife and child down in Colombia, sending money back there, and he goes, John, if I could find a way to bring them in and me get a green card easily without costing $25,000, I do it immediately. But we couldn't help him to a company because we couldn't. You can't offer a guy who's getting paid $35,000 a year salary and then give him another $25,000 just to get him in as a green card, because as soon as he got his green card, he may go away. He may quit his job. So where's the incentive to invest in that kind of person? It's kind of like the proverbial carrot on the stick. And you're dangling it out there in front of them. They're reaching for it, but they can't quite grasp it because they know, most people were saying at the time, if they grab the carrot, they're gone. They leave. And so there was
But it
no
costs
incentive.
that much to become a citizen?
Yes.
Because my
Yeah,
neighbor
but I
came
thought
from
there was-
Ireland.
Yeah, I thought there was programs in place that you don't need a lawyer. you can-
My neighbor came from Ireland. He became a citizen, had to be 10, 12 years ago. I know Jerry. He didn't pay no $25,000 to become a U.S. citizen.
Well, he
He
may have
did go through a long time. It was
took-
about 3 years.
Yeah,
And he finally got it. And I remember when they
Right.
had a big party next door. But I know Jerry. Jerry would not spend 25 grand.
Well,
I mean, I don't know.
Unless
Maybe
he
it's
didn't have a lawyer
different now
involved.
or whatever. This was like 12 years ago.
It ranged. It depended on who you got and how fast you wanted to have it.
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
it
Yeah.
would, you could pay $5,000 and get into the process, which would then take 3 to 5 years.
Right.
You can get somebody to do it, expedite it, and
Cost you more money. Sure.
Cost you more money.
But let me ask you this. Before Biden got in, immigration was pretty low. I mean, it seemed like everything was kind of under control.
Obama had it.
But then all of a sudden,
Obama had.
well, Obama did the right thing.
Yeah.
Obama, when
Yeah,
people
he
came
did.
over, he
turned
turned
them
around
around.
right away and pushed them back.
Back out,
You're
yeah.
back to Mexico.
Well-
Biden didn't do that. Biden let them come in and then just let them go around
Well,
the country.
he did
and now
deport
Trump's trying to clean this up.
He did deport 750,000 people.
What he
Biden did.
Well,
Yeah.
they all did. I mean,
Yeah.
all the presidents.
They all
have
did,
went,
Yeah.
But it just
But
seemed
that
like
was in
with-
4 years, or their term of
right of
presidency.
4 years.
Yep.
But it just seemed like whether it's 10 million, 11 million, 12 million, whatever the number is, just to let them come in and go around the country. And now this is what Trump is trying to
Clean up.
in a way. And personally, I don't blame him. I think it should be done. But I know I get what you're saying. We're working with you in the green industry.
Well-
I'm in the car business. I was,
Yeah.
and a lot of the cleanup crews were all from
From
Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico,
Argentina,
there's Argentina.
Brazil,
Yeah, they're all from
Yeah.
Venezuela and all that.
The other-
And a lot of them were legal citizens,
Yeah.
and some were, I could tell, were not.
Yeah.
But
Oh, you can tell. You can pretty much. I mean, they're the quiet ones.
yeah, yeah.
But the other thing about this is that there are other ethnic groups that are equally illegal aliens, as well as the Mexicans and any
Oh,
of the
yeah,
brown.
yeah.
I mean, you have people coming in from Germany. You have
Yes,
people. I
you
mean,
do.
you can go to New York and walk down any street, and all you can hear is Russian. There's a lot of Russian people here. How are they getting in here so quickly and so easily? I mean, you can hear them speaking a mile away because that Cyrillic language is very distinctive. Then you have any other country in the world where there are white people, they're coming in here illegally. They just nailed a guy recently who they sent back. He was a software engineer. And I don't have that specifically, so I shouldn't allege this in a public thing. But he did not get deported. He got a re-upped on a visa, and was able to stay in for a time because he was able to get his visa very quickly. So why did he get a visa? Because he was IT and he was important, and this other guy over here who's chopping plants or washing cars, not as important. You see what I'm saying? Because he's getting a visa card immediately and then going through the naturalization process. This guy over here, you have to pay us more money for it. So there's some inequalities that are going along with this, and it's very important to keep a lid on it and be meticulous about it. But going out and getting these people who are the gang members or the psychos, I have no problems with that.
Okay,
I don't care who they are.
That's
I don't care
exactly
who they
what I
are.
was waiting for you to say.
Yeah, I don't care who they are.
Because if
I
they
don't care
got
if they're
records,
legal or illegal, get them.
drag them off the street. Good.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at the guy who just killed the mom and dad.
What we were just talking about.
Yeah. I mean, he was on a trail. He didn't even know these people. He killed them.
Oh, the one in Wisconsin.
In Arkansas.
Oh, Arkansas.
In
Right.
Arkansas.
Yeah. Right.
And then there was another one.
The
And
kids.
there was another one. There was been a few of them.
Yeah.
The guy who went up and killed the Democrats in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So
Get him out. Yeah.
I find it with me with trying to find work at 67 years old. I am discriminated wherever I put in an application.
Really?
Like, you're 67 years old. We don't want an old guy. We want.
Oh yeah, and they're
somebody
not
younger.
supposed to do that.
Well, I mean,
Age, white, black,
Yeah,
gray.
but you can't do it anymore. You can't charge them for that. What's the proof? We had a better candidate. He wasn't a great candidate. That's all they have to say.
Yeah.
I can't find any work.
Yeah.
It's really, really tough. So I have to find other things that I can do myself that will make me money. And one of them is investments. That's it. I'm now investing. So
Cool.
I'm fortunate, very fortunate to be able to have that ability and also the resources to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I can understand when somebody cannot find a job. I have heard of people sending in 500 resumes to places and not getting a response back.
Oh, I
In
could
this
never
economy?
do it.
Why?
I couldn't do it either. I couldn't go out and do. I mean, my daughter. Is that your phone?
Yeah.
What is it
Not
doing
getting
here?
picked
In
up.
Star Wars here?
Yeah.
But to me, that's all it is. It's just awareness, and it's not critical race theory. That's bullshit. That's all bullshit. Critical thinking are the skills you want to teach your kids so that they make practical and proper choices in life.
I think the part that
to differentiate between this is bad and this is good.
and awareness
That's all it is.
a definition of woke for sure. But I think what aggravates me is they're forcing you to be aware of these minority groups. They're forcing it down your throat.
Well,
They're
the biggest one
forcing
is
it here, and they're forcing
men
it
and
there.
female sports.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a whole different ballgame.
let's
too.
say
But
your daughter. I'm not going to mention names, but your daughter
Mhm.
practices. What is she good at? In sports.
She was volleyball,
Okay.
swimming.
volleyball,
Okay.
that's tall.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Would you stop with the phone? And I want to know, why do you get me a water? You got him a water. You don't get me a water?
No,
Unbelievable.
because you yell at me all the time, so I don't do it anymore.
He likes me better.
No,
That's all.
but- okay, so your daughter's really good at sports. Number one,
Mhm.
high school, goes to college, number one in volleyball or whatever sport she is. And then all of a sudden some
No,
person and they get they're all of a sudden they're top dog because
because they got men's
I
muscle.
just don't agree with that.
I don't agree with it either. To be honest with you, I think it's if like they
Well,
have.
that's part of woke.
Like
I
they
mean,
have-
that's basically
Paralympics.
that's a system of woke
yeah.
to me.
Well, if they want to have competition among trans, have
Then-
competitions among trans.
Yeah, have their own.
Have
That
their
I
own-
would
yeah,
think that's
that'd be
great.
fine, but-
that is great.
but-
That's
but-
what it should be.
But if you remember back in the day when the Soviets and the Russian Empire was flexing their muscles, do you remember the Olympics where you saw the West or the East German swim teams, the women especially? I mean, they came out and they had so many. They were like
They're on
this,
steroids.
right? They were like on steroids. They were on steroids, and they were killing everybody because they were I don't know, the experimental. They were,
Oh.
it was like, it was something out of a sci-fi,
Right.
because they were really modified.
Right.
Right.
I mean, and so
Yeah.
that was,
Yeah.
and everybody screamed about that.
Right.
Everybody screamed about it.
Yeah.
Then Bruce Jenner comes along. He wins the triathlon,
Yeah.
and he turns into
Mrs. Jenner.
Mrs. Jenner, right? But nobody says anything because he didn't do that as a trans.
Right.
He did it as a man.
And he stands
That's-
against women,
Which is
men in
fine.
sport, women's
So,
sports. Yeah.
so yes, I think the groups that of trans that are trying to do this are missing the point. And if they want to do that, look, you're not going to put somebody who has who was that guy in South Africa that had the legs amputated? And he had those funny
those
prostheses where they
yeah.
kind of curved.
They
and,
curved,
and he boing,
right.
boing, 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 boing.
Right.
You know, well, he was in the Paralympics.
Paralympics, right?
So
Then make a trans.
makes it
Olympic.
trans.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
it. You know?
That I agree with. I
Yeah,
think that's the right thing to do.
That's you know, it's common
But like
sense.
with the thing with Riley Gaines,
Mhm.
I mean, she wasn't like a #1 swimmer or something. All of a
Yeah,
sudden,
knocked out.
the other person, I forget his name or her name, joined, and she got trophy. She got #1.
Yeah, lost.
And like
Yeah.
this poor girl, Riley Gaines, practiced and did everything, you know,
Well, see, that's not
and all
right.
of a sudden, boom.
Well,
you know?
and
Well, she got them all back. So
And
she
I
fought
disagree.
hard.
I disagree with giving any any person involved in a competition any kind of recognition unless they earn it.
Right.
So if you get third place, you get a third place award. Second place,
Oh,
you
I
get
know,
first.
I know.
But you don't get here's your star.
Everybody gets a trophy.
You know, yeah, everybody gets a trophy because we don't want anybody to be left out. No, that's
Right.
wrong.
That is
You're
wrong.
teaching. You're
Yeah.
teaching that there's.
All right, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Here's your, let's see
Here
your,
we go.
because I feel I don't know how you're going to
See,
answer
diversity
this. but I'm
and
gonna ask
inclusion.
you.
So not everybody needs to be included as well.
Right, okay.
Right.
But Biden, for the Supreme Court, gets this Jackson lady,
Mm-hmm.
and he said before he did, I'm only going to nominate a black girl, black person,
Mm-hmm.
or a black woman, actually, he said, because we already had
Specifically said
Clarence
that,
Thomas there.
regardless of who interviewed.
Now, regardless, right now, if there's somebody who's better and they happen to be white or maybe beige, like you know,
Like me.
you know, don't you think if they were better and had better scores and did, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I look at that and I
you
say to
know,
myself,
I
wait a
think-
minute.
I think if you
why are
make a
doing
promise
that? I
and
mean,
you-
he came right out and said it.
Yeah, well, if he makes a promise like that, he kind of has to stick to it because then he kind of loses credibility if he doesn't.
And I'm not
doesn't
saying
stick
it,
with
taking anything away
You know,
from
I think he used it.
Judge Jackson. She's
Right.
probably
No, she's
phenomenal.
fine.
I remember
you
Kennedy.
can't be stupid up there.
Kennedy. What's his name? He's a Republican. He was drilling her. You know, they do with the process. But he said before
Senator Kennedy.
Senator Kennedy.
Yeah.
He's from I think Louisiana or
Louisiana,
someplace.
yeah.
I mean, he said it before he started drilling her. He looked at her parents and said, "You must be very proud. You must be so proud of your daughter."
Yeah.
And they were like smiling, and the
they
father
laid
went
into
like
him.
this, and he says, I can't imagine how proud you must be."
Yep.
You know, and which I agree 100%. But to pick somebody just because of their color of their skin over somebody that might be better and has better accomplishments in doing that. Now see, that's me.
Well, I think
that's my Republican coming out. Or not
Biden was
Republican.
pretty well known for his gas, and I think he by saying that he put himself in an untenable situation.
But John, Biden was never like that. I remember Biden 20, 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah, he was a firebrand.
Yeah, he
senator.
was a firebrand. He was. But I don't know.
Yep.
Oh, well.
I mean, I think, you know, just because you're a good senator or a good congressman or even a good governor doesn't make you a great president.
No, that's true.
You know,
It's
I mean,
just like baseball players.
you know,
Good players don't automatically become a good manager.
right.
And managers
That's it.
sometimes were lousy players
That's right.
or something
That's
like
right.
that.
That's
Yeah.
right.
By the way, everybody, if you have comments on anything that we're talking about here, email us.
Sure.
Also,
Write in.
Don't forget to
whether you
subscribe.
liked it or not, bad, good, whatever, email us. We like to hear what you got to say.
We need subscribers. We really need the help, and we're in our New York office today, as you can see back here through the windows, and we got to pay the rent for this place. So let's get some subscribers here and help us out. Texas walkout. What's going on with that? So I guess
the Dems, they walked out. So John, what do you think about this story?
well, they have to have 100, right?
For quorum.
Right, and I guess they had an 85-6 vote because all the Dems left, and I guess it's more of a protest, right, than it is anything else because
Well,
they want to
it-
redistrict
They
Texas.
don't want. Well, this is something that came from Trump. He asked Abbott to redistrict everything so he gained 5 more seats for the House.
Right.
Midterm, baby.
You know, and again, this is politics. I don't know much about politics, and you know, I don't understand the animosity and such that is. These guys really just want to steamroll over the Democrats and say you're nothing. I mean, you got to have compromise in a democratic republic for it to work. If you don't want it to work, then you're going to have something else.
And I agree with you that, you know, we talk about this a lot, is the Dems have, and it is, we have been clashing so ridiculous. But what bothers me is they go against everything Trump is doing. Doesn't matter what it is. And John, I'm not saying everything's right, believe me. But this guy can come up with a pill for cancer and it'd still go against it or vote against it. And they're doing this against him. There's been other districts that, of course, they redistrict other states, right? In the past.
Well, they did it in 21,
you know,
and they did it in 03, supposedly.
Yeah, they did. And they've done it in other states.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's over the extreme right now.
It's too
Everybody's
extreme.
fighting.
Oh,
Look,
it is over.
we had a bipartisan immigration bill that was going to pass, and Trump stopped it. And
what was that bill? What was in the bill? What were they
It
doing?
was immigration reform. It was the bill that they were looking for to cure the immigration problem at the time. And Trump stopped it because he goes, I wanted to use it as a campaign issue. Kill it. And that's what he did. They killed it.
Before he got in office.
And he used it as a campaign issue. So, you know, in the past, Dems and Republicans have had their fights, but if you notice, they have always been able to reach across the aisle and come to a compromise. And that's what we need to have.
Yeah, there's no compromise at all.
Stop. I don't care if, you know, don't do this DEI thing. I mean, you know, just, you guys have to start thinking objectively and compassionately.
And what's best for the country.
What's best for the country. Right. There's too much greed. There's too much animosity. And there's too much me, and not us.
Yeah.
We need to be much more together. That's why I don't mind coming and talking to you. I know you're politics, and you know, and I'm a centrist. When I used to vote back in the day, years ago, I haven't done it in a while, but years ago, you know, one Republican, one Democrat, one Republican, one Democrat.
Right.
I always made that parity so that they had to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want overwhelming, you know, talk it out. Come up with a compromise, and let's go move forward.
But don't they talk it out sometime? I mean, we don't see it that much because maybe they're not showing it on TV or anything. But they got to be talking. They have to be.
They do. They have to be talking.
In the chamber and everything.
A lot of it is theater. It's history.
Well, it is. Like that guy that talked for 4 days or whatever.
Yeah,
9 hours. 9 hours.
No,
the speech on the floor.
Cory Booker.
Yeah, Cory Booker.
Right.
Yeah.
What do they call that? They call it something.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Filibuster.
Filibuster. That's it.
Yeah.
Filibuster, and it was the longest filibuster ever.
Well,
this whole
bless his heart, he was able to do it, man. That's
this whole divide, the division that we have in politics today and in the country. I mean, it's unbelievable
how divided we are. Yeah.
And I do blame Trump for that. I blame Trump for that, not in a bad way. I blame Trump because he exposed the deep state and everything that's going on. And Trump, I understand the way he talks and everything, but he brought this all out, and he's trying to change everything.
Okay.
He's trying to change. All the money that we're spending, you know, that's why you got Doge involved and all that jazz, and get the people out of here. The illegal aliens that come in and they're staying here and they're committing crimes and this, that. He's trying to get them out of here. I mean, I happen to think he's doing a very good job. I know there's some things that are kind of wacky, but I do blame Trump for the divisiveness because he wasn't a politician.
No, he's not a politician.
But everything that he's doing today, he talked about 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Bring up videos of him on Oprah.
Well, he was a Democrat. He was a Democrat.
He was?
Yeah.
Bring up videos of Letterman and all that.
Yeah.
He was, and they all
he was
agreed
good friends
with him.
He was good friends with the Clintons.
They all, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He
Well,
was.
And Mar-a-Lago, people don't understand. So many people stayed there. Oprah stayed there.
Oh,
Michael Jackson had his honeymoon there
Yep.
when he got married to the
Yep.
Elvis Presley girl.
Yep.
I mean, it's just a lot of people have stayed at Mar-a-Lago.
But again, Trump. It's not Trump's fault per se. He's a symptom of the grievance and anger of another entity within our United States that wants to have control, and that is the religious right. And the religious right has been fighting desperately for the last 60 years, because I went through all those years of them wanting their, theocracy to be implemented in public areas, and they were constantly knocked down. They now have their chance, and you know what? Can you blame them? No, I can't. I can't really blame them, because you know what? They fought for 60 years to get what they wanted, and now they have the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court.
Well, yeah,
he's
got one up on
that, and they're going to go and take whatever they.
Right.
You know what?
But the Democrats would do the same thing.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But when at the times when they had those opportunities, they didn't do it. I mean, when Obama had the House and he passed his Affordable Care Act, he wasn't able to do anything else, because very soon thereafter was in the midterms changed the dynamics
of the Affordable Care Act. To me,
So-
I don't know. I didn't get it. I mean, I think half the country didn't want it. The other half didn't even know what it was. I mean, a lot of people had a lot of problems explaining what it is and what you had to do and this, that, and the other thing. And it turns out to be, it was not a disaster, but it just seemed like it just never really went anywhere.
I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but when I read things, if I feel like there's something not quite right with what I'm reading, I'll look for something that is going to describe the same thing again, but from a different perspective, so that I have that I know more about the issue than just something that is being fed to me by headlines.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, we do the same thing. You want to go in and get the research from different outlets, because one says one says false, one says
two
true.
Two guys on a corner, and they witness a car accident, and they get interviewed by the cops. What did you see?
Yeah.
Well, one guy's looking at 10 o'clock, and the other guy's looking over here at 2 o'clock. So they're going to have totally different perspectives of the accident, but they're standing right next to each other.
Yeah.
But I just think you have to have a logical outlook on things, and it can't be so emotional about it. You really need to have a head on your shoulders to be able to understand what you hear here is not necessarily what you're going to hear over here. But when you start to hear different perspective of the same issue, you begin to extrapolate from those perspectives, and you can come up with your own perspective. That pretty much summarizes what they're trying to do, but also makes it so that you can at least reasonably understand what's going on. There's a lot of things out there in politics that I have no idea what's going on. You can't keep up with it.
No, you can't.
No, it's
Can't keep up with it.
especially now. There's so much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, we are heading towards a very divisive moment where something's going to crack, something's going to break.
Well, with these Democrats,
gonna-
I think, leaving Texas like this,
Yeah,
and all that's going to put.
that's part of it.
I mean, look
part
at
of it.
Gavin
That's part of
Newsom. He's flipping out about it.
He's absolutely having a cow about it. He is.
Oh, he's having a big cow about
he's
it. And so is
epileptic.
Kathy Hochul
Yep.
of New York.
Yep.
But
Yeah, and Crockett is too, because they're saying that if they redistrict what they want to redistrict, she'll end up in a Republican district.
Well, the Republicans are showing
Where she lives.
very little probity, and it shows. And when they're that blatant with their power, and they're just doing this to the Democrats' face, then of course,
But
it's
yes.
reverse. It's reverse of what
Yeah.
is happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But what I'm seeing too, though, is we can go into this forever, but the Dems aren't coming up with a separate solution.
Yeah, they're not.
Or their own solution.
all they're doing
They're
is
just trashing the solution.
whatever Trump does, it's
we're
bad.
doing. Or,
Well,
Okay,
no.
what is your policy? What would you do to try to fix it? And they don't really say anything. They don't do anything. They don't. I
You
don't
know why? Because they're they
can't.
they did for a long time. They gave warnings about what was going on, and they gave warning after warning after warning. Nothing happened. Trump gets elected again, and my feeling is that they went, okay, we did this, and we're going to let them see what happens when this guy takes over and does what he's going to do.
But don't you
And
think
that's-
Trump got elected because of the way the country was being run? People didn't like the wokeness. People didn't like all the 12 million people that came into the.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
didn't like that. They
Well,
didn't care for that.
I think a lot of it was exasperated.
And then Biden reverses all the energy thing the minute he got in from what Trump was doing. I mean, gas was down back then.
Well,
It was down.
Yeah.
It was almost at one point $2 a gallon.
well, did you hear Trump today on CNBC?
No, I
He was on
didn't.
CNBC
No.
this morning, and I listened
He was
to
on
him.
at CNBC.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, he was on by phone.
Oh.
But they interviewed him for like 20 minutes,
Oh.
and they had a long conversation. And he made the comment where he said gas is now down to 220. Well, I'm not seeing.
I'm not seeing it.
No, I'm not seeing 220
He
either.
said 220.
But it's funny.
Okay. So there's so many issues out there that we could discuss that have no relationship to each other, but they are issues. And
Yeah.
you know, like climate change, you know, I have a personal, observance of that because I see plants that used to thrive, they're dying because of the heat, and just a mere 1 or 2 degrees.
It's called summer.
You know, no. It's also called. It's in the wintertime. It stays
2 degree
warm.
difference in the world. Yeah.
2. But the other thing is, you had Exxon back in the 70s saying that if we continue our emissions the way we're going to continue our emissions, we're going to have a problem. They admitted it and they stuffed it down. Look it up. You'll find it because they did
But
say
John,
it. They
So
did
what
say it.
problems
They've been
Yeah,
talking
so-
about
so-
climate change since the 70s,
Yeah.
and nothing has really changed.
Well-
I go to Acadia National Park. I've been there probably about 8 times. It looks the same to me.
Well, I know,
It just- it looked
and we're not
everything
thinking.
underwater.
We're not thinking. I mean, it doesn't change the weather. What's happening is you're seeing coral die because it's the temperatures have gotten too hot.
In
So,
coral reefs.
You're seeing islands in the South Pacific going underwater because the rising of the ocean is occurring. You're seeing the disappearance of the glaciers because they're melting. But what we don't know what the effect is on us. It may not be anything, because the Earth has gone through umpteen periods like this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I-
it's
and
an
I
Ever
actual
hear George
fact.
Carlin talk about climate
Yeah,
change?
yeah.
Oh, it's hysterical.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It
It's
is.
hysterical
It is.
about what he talks about.
But remember the hoopla about the ozone layer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
So-
That was back in the 70s. I remember
right.
talking.
And we got rid of fluorocarbons.
Right.
We haven't heard any problems with the ozone layer since because we got rid of the fluorocarbons.
But
that
here's
was all we
another
had to
thing,
do.
John.
That's
And
all we
I'm
had to
not.
do.
I'm not into this climate change. I'm not. I mean, I think that there's something happening, but I don't think it's because you and I are driving an SUV.
No.
That's the way they.
I
but
don't- yeah.
they've been talking about Florida's going to disappear. They've been talking about that 25 years ago. And
Well,
well,
it
there,
is.
just
there's
went
a-
to Disney
and
World
the
in
polar
March.
bears.
There's that island off of Virginia that they had to evacuate all those people because it went underwater.
Oh.
Yeah, there's that. And,
Well, I know
you
that they moved Cape Hatteras,
and-
the Hatteras
and
Light. They had to
Venice-
move the Hatteras Light in 200
yeah,
feet.
well, Venice is sinking or it's going underwater, but they've been measuring that for centuries because it's sinking at like 1.3 inch a year. So now, how many years did it take to make the Grand Canyon? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're going to have these things, but the thing is, if we can, we're stewards of this planet. We don't have any other place to go. So
No.
that's the only thing that scares
No,
me.
Not yet.
I understand that.
Yeah,
but
we can't go
I
anywhere
think,
else.
I think
And I see these.
they talk
dystopian-
about the planet is so bad, but I think we're the ones that are going to get fucked.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are probably going to go away, and the planet's still going to be here,
Yeah, we'll
still
be
going to
here.
be going around the sun.
And-
The moon is still going to be going around us, and while we're gone.
I don't know
We're
if you've ever
history.
seen that show where they went back to the nuclear the town in Russia that
Oh,
uh,
you see the deer,
Yeah.
rabbits? They have cameras set up.
Yeah, they have cameras
And
set up.
things
and
are
everything.
coming back.
Things are coming back, but they're coming back a little different.
Well-
some of them are radioactive, but so somebody a little while back did this whole thing where they remember when the pandemic hit and what happened. Like all these sort of the emissions dropped down completely. It was quiet. It was, But anyway, so this guy went out and he did this thing where he went 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years, 1,500, 2,500, 5,000, and then to 10,000. And he did this time elapse thing. What happens to
My
the
house.
Earth, and everything disappears.
Everything was what?
Everything disappears.
Yeah, the Earth
Wow.
just takes over.
The Earth just
Yeah.
grows over everything and
Yeah.
just smoke, steel,
Yeah.
concrete.
Yeah.
Nothing survived. Nothing lasts.
You mean, you're saying so
over
like
Mother
a
nature.
over
just
time.
will eat this whole
Well,
house.
yeah, and
So-
then that's basically what happened in
Right.
Chernobyl.
Right.
Yeah.
Chernobyl, that's exactly
Yeah.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
Because man disappeared.
Yeah,
There's no more
I think,
influence.
people talk about the Earth is going to end. I think we're going to end. We'll probably die out, and the Earth will still be going around.
Yeah.
Still be doing
Well,
its
it'll
thing.
do its planetary thing.
Because
it's
don't
a
they
planet.
say that the Earth is basically middle-aged? It's like it's not really old. It's not young. It's like somebody 45 years old or 40 years old.
When you start to talk in AIU terms, which is the term the time term, astronomical time, when you start to talk about that, it can get a little bit
Yeah.
like,
like being
45 billion years
yeah,
from
like
now, it's going to be,
Like
it's
we were only here to last 10 seconds of a
All right, so let's go
on.
on to the next topic. Or are we done? We done or no?
If you want to just touch briefly on this, this was, Trump firing.
Oh, the BLS commissioner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
commissioner.
unfortunate.
Now,
And he's getting
hate to look
lambasted
that,
for
and,
that.
and I'm sure this is your thought here, is that I would hate to think that he fired her because she lowered the expectations of the job numbers in July and May and
she
June.
can't do that. Everybody that I've heard has said that there are so many people that are handling these numbers and that they come in intermittently.
Right, there's
the
so much
problem,
data.
The problem is that the employers are supposed to fill out a survey. Well, the employers are not filling out the surveys until they forget. Oh, I put it, and they send it to them. So they get this data intermittently. There has to be a way.
We have to have it all before she reports.
Right. It has to
Bottom
be.
line.
It has to be compiled in a better way, and they've never been able to figure this out. If you listen to CNBC in the morning, they talked about it extensively. He said there's no way they can come up with these types of numbers that are so meticulously
Accurate.
received
but they're not,
from people.
Yeah.
And they have to go over them. They have to, and then you got 400 people
so-
all doing the same thing.
So
with
then
these
why
numbers.
release the numbers until we know what's going on?
Well, they do, but then the problem is not so much the numbers that are released; it's the revisions that he got pissed about.
Right.
So what happens is,
So the
one time
numbers
you
weren't
get,
right.
You get a low number or neutral number, and then the next revision, you get a number that says there's 900,000 jobs missing. You know what I mean? So things are doing this, but it's only because of how the data is being collected and interpreted and presented, and it's being done in such a way that it allows that data to come in. They're not saying, if we don't receive your data by the 5th of the month, then you're not participating in this. You can't do that, because then you don't have the right information to make the right decisions.
Right.
It makes it murky.
But let me
the
ask you a
commissioner
question.
has nothing to do with that. She just makes sure that all the numbers, everything is
She pulls
is
it
working.
together. Yeah.
That's all that counts.
Right.
And there's no way she could fudge the numbers. There's no way. And Trump is saying they are rigged. They're not rigged. They can't be rigged.
Well, it just
Absolutely can't
seems
be
to
rigged.
me
It
that
seems to be a coincidence.
I guess the
that-
month before that.
Right. May, June is what they hit hard on, and then July they're changing.
What was May and June's numbers?
They were real. They were good. That's
Yeah,
what
right.
that's she's
But
saying.
then all of a
The
sudden,
idea.
June and July is the one where it went down 200,000-300,000 jobs like that.
Yeah.
Well, think about it.
May and June so
he-
far.
He comes in and he
They shaved. Hold on. They shaved 258,000 jobs off the May June report
okay.
that supposedly came in. That's what he's pissed about.
Oh.
Because all of a sudden now, what? There's not 250,000 jobs are gone. Where'd you
Well,
mistake?
It could be that there's something misleading in the data that made that number, or it could be
Or
that
it could be she's an
Misleading.
appointee of Joe Biden and she just wants to get Trump.
No. I think also the other thing is that figure has to be added to next month's figure. That's why you had another figure of suddenly 900,000 jobs lost, because they took this figure and said, let's put this here because we don't have enough data yet to support this number. So we'll release it later. But for now, we have these good numbers here. We're going to release these good numbers because we have the support for them. We have a 85 or a 90% compliance with extracting these figures. We are safe to say.
Wouldn't it be?
But
it would be unbelievable if all of a sudden that this report was June and July.
May, June is the one they revised.
Okay.
Down 250,000 jobs.
Okay, so then the next one that comes out is going to be what? August, July, or
probably July, August come out.
July,
September,
August,
right in time.
And what if that comes and
the
it's like
interest rate.
gigantic? It's so terrific. Then that kind
Well,
of.
what if it won't? And then the interest rates stay flat again. And
well, the other thing is you got to understand is that with the way the economy is right now, and with the way it's so volatile. One day the VIX is up at 22, the next day it's down to 15, and then the day after that it's up to 35, and then it's all over the place. If Trump just calmed down with his tariffs and did not manipulate the market as much as he's been doing, we would have okay numbers, because you would have everybody. Because there's no clarity.
No, I know what he's saying. At one hand, he's saying, I'm going to hit you with a 30% tariff, and then next day it's 15, the next day it's 30.
Yeah.
So the market reacts to what he's saying.
This. It's going all over the place.
Now,
the numbers are all skewed because they don't know what is what.
But in all fairness, the Dow has hit records since he's been in.
Yeah.
The GDP is 3% growth. That's incredible. That you can't fudge.
Yeah,
those are true numbers.
You can't fudge. But the thing is, they called this market, and this is a very interesting thing because I'd never heard this term before, Joe. They called this animal spirits. Do you know what that means in the financial? I didn't know either. So I asked my friendly chat GTP. I said, what is animal spirits in the financial sense? Animal spirits is making financial decisions that are illogical. They're based on emotion, and they're based on the immediacy of the decision that's to be made. It's not based on research or logic. And everybody's right now, like if you look at GameStop, that was an animal spirit.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay? That was animal spirit.
My son
You
will
look
make
at
some money on that.
Plantier, Plantier right now. These guys at the financial wizards are scratching their heads because they're going, these companies' value is $8 billion, yet their stock is up to $15 billion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the valuations aren't concurring with the numbers. So how do you make them mesh?
Well, I never forget.
And they're scratching their heads over it. And they called it the other day. Said, this is animal spirits, man. People are they're just doing emotional investing.
Yeah. Well, in Wolf of Wall Street, I'll never forget the scene with Matthew McConaughey. Nobody knows. It's all fugazi. Nobody knows it's going to go up, down. Nobody knows, even the stockbrokers.
Right.
Nobody really knows which way to go because a lot of it is all speculation.
Well, when Trump introduced these tariffs back in April 2nd, I think it was. I mean, they all right away. All the experts are all saying, everything's going to die. Everything's going to be Armageddon and all that. But it hasn't happened. Yeah, the stock market went down a little bit, goes up a little bit, goes down a little bit, goes up. But we're still surviving. We're still going along. We still are. I mean, nothing's happening. And he's trying to get these tariffs on, an even keel with each country. And I understand what you're saying. 1 minute he says 15%, then he says 20%.
Look, I read a book a long time ago, back in the 80s, about China. And I'm not a big fan of China.
Mm-hmm.
This is where my conservatism comes out. I'm not a big fan of China.
Oh no!
They stole stuff from us.
Yeah. And why are they buying up land?
They've been buying up land since the 70s.
Yeah. Why is this going on?
Because they're free.
Why are they letting a space balloon, an air balloon, go over the country?
That's because the reason why is because when Nixon opened up, he thought that all our goods were going to be sold to the Chinese, and the Chinese flipped it on its head and put it back on us.
Yeah.
And we weren't selling anything of ours in China.
Right.
And they're selling everything of theirs to us. And it has to do with the greed of corporations. Go to China, there's cheap labor. We can make much more money if all our stuff is made in China.
I agree
And
with
that's where the migration went, was to China, because that's where the cheap labor was.
Now we're trying to bring it back and get
And
manufacturing
they're going to be,
back here.
it's going to be a wake up call when you've been paying somebody, 4 yen.
But I heard that
and now you gotta
China's,
pay them,
China's
$300 a
economy is shit.
It is shit.
They're saying
They got cities over there, complete cities. They even have mock-ups of Venice cities and the European cities to the gnat's ass. Empty. And that was on 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
That was on 60 Minutes.
Okay, I think we should probably wrap it up. What do you say?
Oh, we go for hours.
What do you think? We're got to be at 2 hours?
We can go to tomorrow if you want.
Yeah, right.
John,
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
didn't.
fun.
We don't need to cut.
Get me on. You get me rolling and roll here.
No, it's good. I mean, really appreciate it. I mean, it added another element to us, and you
Right.
know. So, John, I appreciate you coming on and
that was good.
sharing
That was
your thoughts, your career, and what we did. So that's number 33 is a wrap. Make sure you like and subscribe, please.
Yes, please.
Very,
And
very
comment on
important.
anything that we say here. Comment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, comment. Yeah, I like the comment.
You say that
Discourse.
Bill's better looking than Joe? Comment on it.
Many a times most of the time we get a lot of positive. There are some negatives, and I welcome that with open arms. We get to learn. So I'm Joe. That's Bill.
I'm John.
John. Thank you guys
See
again.
ya.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great night. Good night.
Good night.
That was fun, guys.